Sticking with results, high demand for private education in South Africa has worked in AdvTech's favor. In the first half, the company delivered a 6% increase in enrolments, while headline earnings per share jumped 16%. And joining me to take us through the 6 months that was is the company's CEO, Geoff Whyte. Thank you so much for your time, Geoff. And let's start off with the education division. We saw growth across the board. What do you think, what do you accredit that to in this economic environment?
Well, I think we are in a tough economy at the top of the interest rate cycle. So I think everyone's feeling the pinch. But we've tried to make our fees as affordable as possible by taking increases in line with inflation or slightly below. So we're trying to make our offer as affordable as possible.
So would you say that debtors book and the collections are on a solid footing?
Yeah, I think our debtors are in a good place. We centralized collections of fees a couple of years back, and I think we get increasingly better over time at doing that. And as I say, we try and make our fees as affordable as possible for parents.
All right. Well, on the other side of that, let's talk about the pressure points that we saw in the resourcing division that saw a revenue decline, even though we did see operating profit there seeing a slight growth. What were the headwinds there?
Yeah, I think the resourcing division is really a tale of two halves. The SA business has seen revenue go backwards and it made a small operating loss, but it is a tiny part of our total business. And I think everyone understands the pressures in the SA economy and also the impact on hiring running into an election. On the other side, we've had stellar growth over the last few years in our rest of Africa resourcing business, and it continues to perform well. Their revenue was relatively flat, but we had a big increase in margins and then a strong increase in overall profit delivery.
Well, actually, let's talk about those margins, because the operating margins across all the divisions are on a steady upward trend. What's been the key to that continuing upward momentum?
Well, we're very focused on leveraging economies of scale, and full schools and full universities flow headline revenue through to the bottom line quite effectively. And I think that's what we're seeing. And I think we've also done a good job as a company in terms of rigorous cost control.
All right. I mean, just in terms of your capital expenditure, what are those priorities in the short to medium term, and how much room do you have for that spend?
Well, I think we've got a strong balance sheet and strong cash generation. We've got an increase in our dividend, as you've probably seen, by 27% to 38 cents. So we're giving back to our shareholders. And at the same time, we have a big investment program across both the schools division and tertiary. We've got a new Pinnacle opening, Pinnacle Ridgeview next year. We opened a new bridge assisted learning school in January of this year. We're expanding capacity at the Gaborone International School, Crawford and Nairobi, in response to increased demand. And Pinnacle Raslouw, which we opened in 2023, has done so well that we're having to accelerate our investment program. And on the tertiary side, we opened a new Rosebank College in Mbombela at the beginning of this year. We're expanding Rosebank College in Pretoria. There's a new student precinct in Braamfontein that's very exciting. It's going to transform the lives of our students there. And we've acquired a new building to create a student precinct. And we're about to relocate our Rosebank College in Cape Town, doubling the capacity for students there. So we've got a big capital program, but all exciting projects.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because part of the reason why I was asking how much room you have, I also note that you're in the process of or exploring acquiring a building that would be adopted to become a university campus. Just shed some light on that and also how that would fit into the AdvTech equation.
Well, it's a prime campus space that I would love to tell you more about. It's unfortunately subject to approval from the Competition Commission.
Okay.
But we developed that as a university, and we're very excited to get moving on that project. And hopefully, I'll be able to tell you more about that sometime soon.
Would that depend in any way on what comes out of the government in terms of your institutions being classified as universities?
Well, that's a big aim for us. We've been in a long process with the Department of Higher Education around the criteria to become a university. To all intents and purposes, we are already universities. We offer totally equivalent degrees.
Yeah.
But I think it would be great to level the playing field for our students and for us to be called a university. We've given feedback twice on the draft regulations, and we hope that they will be finalized this year. And we've done a lot of work to make sure that we're absolutely ready for when we finally know what we have to comply with, investing in our academic staff, in our qualifications, and the building that you spoke about is also part of that move to being a full university.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and just shedding more light on the numbers, the report card that came out from AdvTech. That was the CEO of AdvTech, Geoff Whyte.